Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grid Culture. Please hit that like button, the subscribe. That's the main thing. Keep building this channel. Man, let's get into it. So, let's go to the home turf, man, in Kansas City. It's been a story, man. Everybody's been talking about it on social media. Well, on my social media, everybody, out in Park Hill. It's in the North Kansas City area. I guess there was a petition. Now, North Kansas City is, it's the suburbs. A lot of white folks out there, and a lot of BS goes on out there. I will say that. I won't even front, but we'll get into it. So there was a petition that circulated with the students. The students at Park Hill signed a petition wanting to bring back slavery. And apparently, I guess we can all pretty much guess it'll be for the black students. And so it's caused a lot of outrage, as it should. You don't know, Missouri's a very, very, and it's a lot of racism around the country, but Missouri's a very, very racist state. I stayed in Belton. I stayed in Belton, Missouri, which is south of Kansas City, for my senior year of high school. And there was a lot that was, going on. Now, it wasn't no sweat off my brow or anything like that. But used to be somewhere and have a bunch of white boys in a pickup truck, and they come riding by yelling out the N-word, the N-I-G-G-R word, or E-R. But I wasn't worried about none of that, because they wouldn't come to me and say that shit, right? So it wasn't no problem. Hell, I even remember, and that happened a couple times. And I even remember one situation. I'm walking through basically a trailer park, and little kid comes outside, and little kid's playing outside, and says, "Hey, my daddy says your kind ain't supposed to be walking through here." And my response was basically, "Fuck your daddy." Hey, I was ready for whatever, man. So, man, I had dealt with a lot more, a lot harsher environments, man, in my life, man. So that wasn't nothing to me. All that talking was nothing. If you had anything, you guys had something that you wanted to do, bring it to the doorstep, because I'm with whatever. I mean, all in all, Belton is still a lot safer than Kansas City. I'll say that much. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Hell, shit, like I've talked about multiple times, man. If a lot of black kids, kids come from a city like that or whatnot, out there in Belton, or even up there in North Kansas City where Park Hills, at Lee Summit, different spots like that, shit, they'll get called soft. You grew up with a bunch of white people and stuff like that. They'll call you soft. Hell, I remember we even pulled up on some chicks one time, man. R.I.P. my brother. But me and a few homies, man, we pulled up on some females. Now, me and my brother was the only ones that was living out there in Belton at that time. And we pull up on them, and they talking to us, and then they ask us where we from. And we say, my brother says Belton. Even though neither one of us are from there, we just living there. He's from St. Louis. And these chicks immediately turn around like, "Oh, no." Like, we whack. So That just show you what it is right there, man. That show you what it is right there. So, man, I'm not gonna. Let's get into this video, man, and I'll expound more upon that, on where I'm going with that. If you don't understand where I'm going already, it'll be more evident in this video. But let's talk about it. Let's look at the video.
Students created a petition to reinstate slavery, sending shockwaves and frustrations throughout the Park Hill School District.
It happened last Thursday at Park Hill South High School. KSHB 41 News reporter Nick Starling talked with the school officials about how they're handling the situation.
The principal here at Park Hill South High School was very tight-lipped when it came to the type of punishment these students received, as well as the incident itself, but did tell us he became aware about this when students brought it to his attention late last week.
So when you hear something like this, it takes you a step back.
Park Hill South principal Carrie Herron was in shock when he learned a group of students were making racial comments.
There were some racist statements that occurred, and that this is not who we want to be at Park Hill South, and that this is not tolerated and will never be tolerated within our building.
Herron tells us the students have been punished.
Now, we're going to talk about Carrie Herron in a little while, too, because there's an incident that happened, I believe, last year that drew a lot of ire from the parents that they didn't, they got a problem with them about. So we'll get into that situation when it comes up, but let's continue.
As they violated the school's policy. Now he wants to stop this from happening again.
How do we as a community come together and use this as a way to make us stronger and having some legitimate conversations about race?
That's where Terry Dion comes in. She's the school's director of access, inclusion, and family engagement.
There is a social emotional side to incidents such as this that are racially motivated, and it impacts us all differently.
And adds, listening to one another is a way to understand a way of life that is different from our own.
To encourage our administrators to provide safe spaces and opportunities for students to speak their truth, to fully and honestly and openly talk about lived experiences. And
is that what you want to do? You got to be real specific when you talk about speaking your truth, because it sounds to me like them boys or whoever it was speaking their truth. Now, what I haven't seen yet, and I'll take a look at a couple more videos, but what I haven't seen yet is how many people were actually on this petition. Was it a school-wide thing? Was it hundreds of kids? Was it just a couple of goof-offs? Different stuff like that. Also, how is it being handled? I know a lot of times we want to go overboard and we want to, we sit up there, we're not focusing on, we're not pinpointing on what's in the actual manual. Because when we go to these schools, when we sign the children up to go to these schools and different stuff like that, I mean, we should understand how this school operates. How will they handle this and that, if something happens? What's the grounds for expulsion, suspensions, things like that? Opting for slavery is a pretty serious thing. It's a pretty serious thing, man. So you would have to look at, is something like that even in the manual? And what's the punishment for that? And if it's not necessarily in there, you have to find something that's similar to it. Like, say, because, it's a threat. Slavery is a threat. Because, you don't want to sit up there and just put it into free speech or anything like that, because that's like somebody saying they want to make a petition for RAPE to be accepted, or make a petition all type of different stuff. All type of different stuff. You got to treat it like it's somebody saying that. You got to treat it like a bomb threat. What if somebody went around and passed a petition petition around. Didn't say they were going to do that, but they passed a petition that they wanted the school to be bombed. So you got to treat this the same way, and nothing more, nothing less. You know, screw out. You know, all the emotional stuff and everything like that. Business has to be handled. Business has to be handled. The rule books are part of the business transaction, like I said. And when you're putting your kids into these schools, you should understand that. If you don't understand how these schools operate, that's I don't want to say bad on you as a parent, but that's an oversight. That's something that you need to pay attention to. Especially if that's something that you go out here, you go out to these schools, you don't know what you're getting into, especially as a black parent. So you send your kid in there, all these white kids. You should understand this. But like I said, I mean, do you want a safe space? Will you allow everybody to speak their truth? Because not everybody thinks the same. And so a lot of times you're going to get kids saying some stuff that you're not going to agree with. Are you going to be able to accept that? Or does it only apply to the black children? I don't know.
Give space for that.
Changing minds and understanding what you write or say matters.
And how do we just help students to be aware of the implications of our actions and our words?
The district will continue to have counselors for students to speak with and will hold group listening sessions with students if they have concerns. Reporting in Riverside, Nick Starling, KSHB 41 News.
6. Emotions are running high in the Park Hill School District after a racist incident at one of the high schools. Last week, some students circulated a petition to, quote, bring back slavery.
KCTV5's Carolina Cruz talked to parents who want to see more action from the administrators. She joins us live now with the story. Carolina?
Yeah, one of the parents we spoke with says that some people have been quick to defend the school district and say only a few people were involved. And she says that this covers the racist act that happens. She also says it takes away from having that conversation of why this is wrong and how they can prevent it from happening in the future.
Speaking out about this is not an attempt to criticize, it's an attempt to make something better.
Julie Stutterheim's daughter is a freshman at LEAD. It's the Park Hill School District's Innovation High School. Her daughter is from Ethiopia.
Through her eyes, I see like what she has to go through and, the experiences she has that are different than what I...
How did they handle the kids? Is there an investigation? It's been a few days now. What have they figured out? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Maybe it'll pop up. Maybe it'll pop up in this video. If I find out anything, you'll see it edited in toward the... whatever the hell this is. You'll see it edited into the end of this video. Right? But what is the punishment for these kids? That is all the people should be talking about. Now, if you want to have other discussions and different things like that about how we can get together and why, trying to convert the kids to not be racist, because that's all you can really do. If a kid's going to be racist, they're going to be racist. You can't change a kid. You can't change a kid. They can feel any way that they want. What you got to do is protect yourself. Strap up. You know what I'm saying? It's for everybody. Everybody talking about, they want to bring back racism, they want to put back slavery and stuff like that. You gonna let them bring back slavery? You gonna let somebody enslave you? Or you gonna go down shooting? That's that whole, when Kanye was talking about slavery is a choice. See, it's something to die about. Now, in all actuality, and I've said this a million times, and this is not hyperbole, we're all in slavery. We're all enslaved to our governments, to our Federal Reserve, to our world leaders. We're all enslaved in this money system until we figure out a way to operate out of it. And there's ways out of it. It's hard. Much harder than, way easier to talk about it than to do it. But there's ways out of it. Nothing's perfect. No lifestyle outside of it is perfect. But if you want to get out of this current system, it is what it is, because these people are playing a game with your life. They got you enslaved. As long as they're able to collect any type of tax at any moment, any time that they feel with, have any type of arbitrary, reason for spending and, reason for inflation and devaluing the dollar. And we sit up there having these conversations about, the cost of living and, all these different things, and the minimum pay, the minimum pay wage. It's not going to help. Nothing's going to change because you haven't nipped the source of the problem in the ass. So we're all slaves. But just, speaking of chattel slavery and, white folks, black folks, are you going to let them? Or are you going to die for that? That's what it is when saying slavery is a choice. What are you willing to die for? Okay? What's your principles you stand on? When does the line get crossed? That's what we've been talking about when we talk about mandates and everything. When is the line crossed? Because you keep those lines to understand that if somebody crosses that line, you're blocking it so a precedent doesn't get set, right? So somebody sitting up there willing to, or they're going to attempt to put you in slavery, you got to defend that. Because there's always going to be fucked up people. Always going to be bad people, man. Especially people in power. There's always going to be bad people. So what you got to realize is death is an option. Death is an option because you're sitting up there, you're fighting for all the people, who are coming after you. Even if it's not just you, other people. Other people's bloodlines and different things like that. Even if you don't have a bloodline, anything. Right? Because if that's the case, what did the people before you, what did they fight for to even, help you get to a position where you're at least comfortable in today's age? What did they had to fight? A lot of people lost their lives. They had to die for something, right? Just something to think about.
Experienced as a white kid.
At the end of last week, Stetterheim's daughter told her about some racist comments circulating between Park Hill South students on social media.
That some students had started a petition she had heard to bring back slavery.
In a statement, the district superintendent describes it as, quote, a small group of students who posted unacceptable and racist statements online. The superintendent goes on to say they do not tolerate discrimination or harassment, and added they have specific policies to respond to these incidents in the form of suspension or expulsion.
They use words like zero tolerance policy, but that doesn't really mean anything. There's a lot of tolerance for this type of behavior, in my view.
What's in your view? Show me. Who gives a fuck? In your view means opinion. Show me how. Has there not been any movement toward getting the kids either suspended or expelled per the handbook that you parents agree upon when you send your kids to this institution? They don't have a monopoly on your life. There's other ways. Now, life is harder. You got homeschool, you got other schools, private schools, different things like that. Homeschool's always the number one thing, right? Now, like I said, because of problems like the Federal Reserve, the way we interact with each other, just all type of different other factors, we don't create an environment to allow that in our home. to allow us to homeschool our own children and have that focus. Not to mention other distractions. It's all type of stuff. But it's not in your view. Have they taken action? Nobody is talking. What the fuck is going on? This is what happens. This is what I've always been saying. We ain't talking about, when talking about George Floyd, all these different things. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, anything. When you stay focused, stay pinpointed on the business. All these other conversations, it distracts and it keeps them, the people that you're trying to hold accountable, it keeps them from being held accountable. So you're saying all of this stuff and we're not informed. So we don't know what the fuck is going on. Is the school district suspending these children? You just say that if it's not happening.
I would like to be able to tell my daughter that, you know, it was taken very seriously.
The district superintendent says they cannot share specifics about any particular student's discipline. We spoke with Park Hill South High School principal.
We've promised our students we would provide an environment where they belong and feel safe, and clearly we're not there yet.
Terry D.
Okay. Okay, so... Okay. So, they can't provide the specifics or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know. Is that in the handbook? Go to the damn handbook. When you're dealing with anybody, when you're dealing with relationships, anything, there has to be some type of principle, handbook. You know, wife tell her husband what she expects out of him. Husband tell the wife what he expects out of her. When you're going anywhere, when you go on a job, they let you know. So is that in the handbook? Because if it is, there's nothing you can do about it. They can go through all these different things about it being safe, but there's nothing you can do about it. If they may have suspended them for 3 days, 10 days, they could be expelled. You don't know. Your kid will just be going to school and they won't see those kids until they do again, or maybe they don't. Right? But there's always a risk when you're sending your children out here, out into this world. There will always be a risk. So these are the things, these are the barriers, these are the things that you got to understand when doing it. But if it says that you can't, I mean, you could try to change to get the rules, you know, changed and get that fixed. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. And it's on you for not knowing that. None of this is a defense of everything that's going on. It's just what's real. I'm teaching y'all how to deal with these situations and not in an emotional way. How to deal these things so you can nip shit in the ass from the beginning so we don't even get to this point. Right?
Dion was hired this school year to lead inclusion and diversity within the district. She will lead conversations about the topic.
Listening will give us a little greater insight into the impact of the situation, which will then allow us to take action, the appropriate and most effective actions and next steps.
In 2015, the school district implemented a plan of access, inclusion, and family engagement, and they're going to be working with Terry Dion to make sure that they continue this conversation. The district says they will be having many conversations in the coming days and weeks, and then they will be able to present some plan of action to address what happened and address any future incidents. Reporting in Kansas City, I'm Carolina Cruz, KCTV 5 News.
All right, so, here, they had a public hearing on it. The school district held a public hearing, had the parents and different, everybody came in and gave their opinion. Let's look into it. This is interesting.
You don't know why we're here, dear. You know it was President, so that's on him.
And you don't know why I'm here either.
Okay. No, I know exactly why. You say you work for the school.
Yeah.
I'm here as an advocate for kids that look like that, parents that look like that, and people that look like me. You can't understand that.
I'm not saying that I do.
You cannot understand that. So he is here as an advocate, and you are opposing that. All that we wanted to do is to find out when this issue was going to be talked about. We ain't trying to have this shit glossed over. We're not trying to hear about snack stadiums, grass, mud, or none of that. Kids will die. Sandy Hook was not a mistake. It was a mistake to ignore the warning signs leading up to a Sandy Hook. You all got a long-standing problem in this school district, a long-standing, and kids will die. 2020 was just, I'm glad it was a pandemic, because everybody had to be in the house watching this. You could not gloss it over. But what we see right here in this room happening.
This is the Kansas City Black Panther Party. And they do a lot of good work within their community, man. You know, they got every right to be in there. They got every right to be, you know, concerned and, you know, all that trying to kick, you know, parents out and stuff like that. It, you know, because it's still at the end of the day, it's funded by taxpayer. It's funded by taxpayer money, man. So these folks have a right to, you know, be concerned, and they want whatever the issues, they want it to be addressed or whatnot. It's just, you know, when I look at these things, it's you know, if this is an ongoing issue, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for black folks. It's tough for black folks because, you know, you leveraging. It's just like I said at the start of the video. We go to these schools, we move out to these places, out to these suburban places, and the reality is it's safer than where we came from. It's much safer than where we came from. It's dealing with, you know, what you see right here, dealing with these school board members and, you know, taking it to these police officers. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier than dealing with the degeneracy that's going on in your own neighborhood, bro. And that's just the reality. And it's tough. It's a lot harder, man. It's a lot harder. Because you really gonna have to. There's a lot of barriers and there's a lot of things that you gotta overcome when dealing with your own people. When you go to the hood, man, and you trying to clean that shit up, trying to clean up the, you know, the shit that's going on in the schools and, you know, why different things. And there's a lot of stuff, you know, got access to bad stuff, you know, the education isn't as on point and different things like that. But at the same time, you know, there's a lot of different stuff the kids that go, you know, going to school every day and having to deal with, you know, dealing with your peers and everything. The reality is, and the statistics show, man, you know, fuck the statistics from our own sight, what we know, our own experiences. It's just harder. It's just harder, man. So you go out here, you know what I'm saying, go out with these white folks, man. It's, you know, it's 9 times out of 10, it's cake, man. It's a cakewalk. You're going to deal with, you know, ignorant stuff like this, but it's a cakewalk. But are y'all confronting those, you know, are y'all confronting them niggas, you know what I'm saying, that's causing harm to everybody in the community? Are y'all you know, just things you got to think about. But I understand they fight here, man.
Is we're glossing this issue over. And that's not a board that's representative of the minorities that were impacted by that petition. Okay? Over 100 signatures went to that thing. We have screenshots. This is a major violation. We're not just talking about a school issue. We're talking about a societal issue. Okay? So that's what we're coming up here with. So we're standing on the voice of pain. We're coming up here to reason. But when you tell us to silence our voice when we come up here to speak for children,
you know, you had the opportunity.
I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm not talking to you, and you don't want none of this smoke. You don't want none of this smoke. I know what I'm talking about. I don't do smoke with white people. You gonna know that?
I do. I know.
You gonna know that, man?
All right, that's all bullshit. That's all emotional bullshit, man. It deflects from the conversation. It doesn't lead to anywhere. I mean, at that point, if this is what we're gonna do, just pull your kids out of the damn district, because it don't lead to nothing. Talking about you don't want smoke or anything, so you know, just have a conversation. Had a conversation, man.
No, you have no right to speak. 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 Everybody on this side. No. You definitely don't have right to speak.
Everybody got a damn right to speak. That's our problem nowadays, is we want to shut down anybody who has a opposing opinion or something, even if the opinion's ignorant. We want to shut down somebody and, say they shouldn't be able to talk because we don't agree with it. And that's how we end up missing out on a lot of, things that can help us in the long run because of that. So the man got his right to speak. Whatever he says, just give a simple rebuttal. Give a simple rebuttal. But all of this stuff, all this feminine going back and forth and all this shit, you don't want smoke and nothing like that, man, it just distracts from everything, man.
On this issue.
You guys are talking long enough.
No, you're not. Shut the fuck up.
We're not arguing. We're not going to argue.
I'm just trying to be supportive of you guys.
We've spoken long enough. They've spoken long enough. Is that what you were saying? Who do you mean? What do you mean by that? We're not discussing. Okay.
Like if there's rules in school, if a kid showed up with a gun, they're not going to be like, hey, we need to evacuate.
And on this point, at this point, guys like that, white folks, school district shit, y'all gotta understand that y'all can't be being combative, because he's coming in a combative, not, physically combative, but he's got a combative tone, his stance, everything. And so all it's doing is pouring fuel on the fire, man.
But we got these rules. There's an imminent danger to a kid showing up with a gun. There's an imminent danger to 100 kids signing a petition that want to reinstate slavery. There's an imminent danger to every black child in the school district. And
I think they hear. Yeah, I think they hear.
If you would let us, please.
They ain't got that many things to get through.
Please let us. We don't have that.
Oh, do it. Yeah, let's do it.
You okay? Can we do that?
Thank you, guys.
Gentlemen, thank you.
That's all I needed. That's all we needed. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I do it in a year? No. Can I do it in 5? Probably not, because it's taken us a long time to get here. We're about a generation away from Brown versus Board of Education.
How many people in the district are here right now, actually?
Pardon?
Can we commit to another meeting at least, I think within a week or so?
I've already committed to my gentleman here that I would meet with him personally so that we can talk about this and identify some next steps that would be helpful for us. And we're welcome to have that.
So can you say what type of discipline you all are planning specifically for administrators? Because we've had a number of.
I cannot.
So you can't say. This is something that's been going on. This is not the only incident that has taken place where black students have undergone racism by teachers, administrators, and a number of students have actually said that. Can you not interrupt me, please? Because I didn't interrupt you. Thank you. I'm saying that a number of students have actually reached out to our media outlet. We put out a call. We simply asked for people and students to reach out to us and tell us their stories. And we've had literally dozens and dozens, but within the matter of 6 hours, we had dozens and dozens and dozens. Students, current students, alumni, parents, grandparents reach out to us and say that over and over and over again. We've had people as far back as 2005, as far back as 2000, who have said that this district continually sweeps these types of issues under the rug. And so I just personally, you all have, everybody is white up here on the board except for one black person. So you all are using one black person to say that you're committing to do something for diversity and inclusion. That doesn't make any sense to me. Really, if you're paying for all this website stuff, you should have had a committee for diversity and equity and inclusion. You should have taken specific steps to discipline people. The principal ran onto the court last year and asked people to...
Y'all been going through it for that long. Do for self. Since 2005, you've been having problems. And yet you still have black folks still sending their kids to this school. It takes nothing. No, let me not say that. It does take something. But you as a community can come up with your own schooling. Whether you have to do it out of somebody else's house or something. And y'all pull together. And y'all pull the resources, the funding. Take your money, just a little bit from everybody. And help fund some schooling, get books, different things like that. It don't have to be nothing big. You can start with a small group of kids and go from there. Right? Because you've been wanting for this long and ain't nothing changed. We're wanting for this long and ain't nothing changed. Right? And maybe you're asking for the wrong things. Ask for transparency on punishments so you can know. Because if not, and you continue to send your kids up here, you'll always be in the dark. Because all they'll tell you is, every time is, we can't tell you. So push for a policy to where they do have to disclose that information. And then go from there. And if the school is, during that discussion, you'll be able to figure out whether they're serious or not, man. Inclusion, everything like that, it's not gonna, I mean, you may have a mole on the inside that'll be able to tell you, when you invite them over for dinner or something like that. But other than that, it ain't gonna do nothing for you. Because they have they have a policy that they'll have to follow. And they'll have to go through all that. And then when you don't get what you want from them, from whoever's black who they do put on the board, then you'll be sitting up there calling them a sellout or something like that. And they not doing enough. And shit like that. Okay? Maybe you need to get in close with some of these, maybe that's, it ain't happening. But maybe you need to really start having conversations and really push to, speak more with them. Even outside of these, so you can understand these things. That's what it's going to come down to, having a mole in there that can tell you what's going on in the inside. Other than that, push for transparency. That's all you can do.
Remove racial unity shirts. And he's still the principal of that school. And so I'm just personally interested, how are you holding...
That's what I was talking about, the principle that I showed you at the beginning. That's what I was speaking on, the unity shirts, right? And so you saw the principal say that he was completely against this. Now, I'm not going to get into whether the principal was wrong or right, but the reasoning why, because it was with a volleyball game or whatnot, the girls came out with racial unity shirts, with shirts that, had different color fist on it. And the principal immediately came out and told them that they have to remove that. Was the wrong setting, was the wrong way to do it. Maybe he should have let them do what they did then and told them after the game. I don't know. Maybe he handled it the wrong way. I don't say he's right or wrong. But the reason why is because, especially understanding the climate, understanding, when we say understanding the climate and understanding the times we in, there's a lot of people that are following all type of different ideologies and all type of different things. His reasoning was, well, if he's got to allow them to come out with that, he's got to allow somebody else to come in they could come in a KKK shirt. They could come in a MAGA shirt, right? I mean, is he wrong? You got to think about it. When you're talking about dealing with the things that, keeping the consistency, Get out of your feelings of what you think is right. Is he wrong? That's what we talk about with the ACLU. When the ACLU threw away their standards, ACLU was supposed to always be protecting free speech. They were supposed to protect the right to choose. The ACLU put out a pandemic preparedness guide, basically telling the government, warning them against putting out different mandates and different things because it's a violation of human freedom in an event of a pandemic. And now they've completely flip-flopped. This is the same ACLU. The ACLU is controversial because they ruled on the side of, they went on the side of a bunch of alt-right members. No, matter of fact, neo-Nazis. Because they had the right to their speech. Now, free speech isn't, you make a direct threat onto somebody. When you make a direct threat onto somebody, that's one thing. And there's a fine line when we're talking about slavery and different things. That's why I said, refer to the policy when you're talking about, you're talking about threats of slavery and all of this stuff with this particular situation that we're talking about now. But anybody has the right to feel how they feel. You have the right to not like a white person. Don't gotta like a black person. Ain't gotta like me. Black person ain't gotta like a white person. That's how they choose to live. You can't force nobody to think one way. All you can do is try to educate a person the best way you can and try to impact life and have a positive impact on life the best way they can. But a person is free to do whatever they want outside of threatening a person or inhibiting a person's own personal freedom. That's where you've crossed the line. But if you sit up there and you feel like, all black, now if you sit up there, you feel like all black folks would be in slavery and different things like that, you got every right to feel like that. You got every right to feel like that. Hell, you can voice that. You can voice that. And prove your point. And prove your point. Now, for the dumbasses who probably hear this and say, get in the comment section, in no way am I condoning that shit or saying something I'd agree with. You know what I'm saying? But they have every right to feel like that. Just come my way and expect it to be a problem. Somebody, it's going to be something, it's going to be some bloodshed, whether me or you. May the best man win. But it's going to be some bloodshed. But people have the right. So, when you sit up there and you're trying to keep that consistency, and I can't say maybe it is a principal that has a problem with what's going on. He doesn't like the whole Black Lives Matter. I don't know. We can't get into the minds of people at every point and trying to, this and that and understanding what's on the brain of an individual person. All we can go off is what's the consistency behind what he's doing. Now, if they want to implement, like I said, the handbook, if they want to say, hey, this is what's right, we can allow this, that, but we can't allow that. When you go into an institution, you don't, or whatever type of agreement going somewhere, it's not about free speech. So you can temper those things how you want to. But if you're sitting up there encouraging, or you're saying, or you got something that says no, and there's been a conversation on things like this when it came to BLM mask and different things like that at different schools, jobs. I think it was a place that wouldn't let their employees wear it, and they had a problem with it. but there can't be any political, it's a political agenda. You know, whether if it's for, you know, human rights or anything like that, it's still a political agenda. And if they don't want that in their place, you know, something that you got to abide by. Because, like I said, what keeps the person, what person want to come in there and wear whatever BS they got on, or wear a MAGA, and it don't matter if you feel like their cause is bullshit, they believe in it. They believe Donald Trump will make America great again. Okay? And then it'll cause the whole thing. That'll cause the whole thing. And then somebody coming in with some Joe Biden crap on. Me personally, I think y'all both fucking crazy. You both fucking crazy. People going in voting and shit, anything that has to deal with the political system. You crazy as shit. But who cares? You should have the right to that. But like I said, if we're gonna keep one out, we gotta keep the other. That's simple. But people don't understand that shit because we've been indoctrinated, man. We lead with our emotions and we don't use logic on anything.
Actual faculty members, how are you holding administrators? How are you holding these parents who have taught these kids this actual racial terrorist ideologies? Racial terrorist ideologies. They're saying things. I mean, can you imagine if someone said, we want to bring back the Nazis? That's the actual equivalent of what is taking place in this school. And you all are saying this is a matter of discipline. This is a matter of safety. And everybody deserves to have answers right now. And I don't understand how you all can expect for the people of this community to stand and watch a bunch of white people meet in secrecy and not be talking to the community about what's actually happening. So unless you can have some answers, it just doesn't make any sense to me, really.
I can't answer that for you this time.
We'll start to give the black community the impression that you actually care. It's going to upset some people, and that's fine, because we're upset. But you can't just say, well, we're working on it, because you've been working on this since 2015. It's time to stop working on it and put a fix in place. So, but there's things that can, and I will meet with Dr. Herron tomorrow afternoon at 1, and I'll talk to him as well, because it seemed like it was trying to be blown under the rug. My daughter, when this first happened on Friday, actually meet with him, and he blew her off for 2 days. So, whatever was trying to be swept under the rug, I think a lot of people are here to pull the rug back. But there are things that can be done right now. But you have to be willing to do it.
I ask a question because we wanted to hear from you also.
Yes,
She actually does not attend Park Hill. We actually just moved to this area maybe back in April, and I decided not to put them in Park Hill only because there is a drastic racial undertone with the entire district. So I'm a registered voter in this district. I'm a taxpayer in this district, but I chose not to send my kids to school here. And honestly, this is why. You know, you have the situation with the volleyball team, and I just feel like you all are just kind of like sweeping it under the rug. It's better.
So maybe they are sweeping it under the rug, as the brother, you know, spoke before, and that's a problem if that's what's going on. It needs to be addressed. But you know, of course, she brought the volleyball team up again. Like I said, most people, even you know, people who watch the comment section, most people that you think they're not gonna listen to what I said on that. And like I said, maybe the principal does have a particular bias toward, you know, unity shirts and different things like that. Also, you have to bring up something that's similar. How has he reacted? Is there any other political type of messaging that's plastered on the school walls or kids wearing or different things that he's allowed? So you got to bring up things like that. I know it seems like a lot, but it's what has to be done if you want things to go the way you want it to go. Because if at the end, all you're going to do is bring more division. And y'all obviously want to live out there in Park Hill, right? She moved her daughter, you know, they moved out there. She didn't put the daughter in there because she felt the racial tension, but you still live in Park Hill. if it's like that in the school is just a microcosm of the entire city, North Kansas City, or, you know, where the area that you're living in. So, and maybe it's like I said, you know, you're sending your kids out there, so you don't want to send them out there, and you feel like you got more control in your home, because, you know, if something does come to you, your doorstep, I mean, you got your gun, right? Where else does she have a kid at? You know, I'd have to ask that question. And what does her child deal with on a daily basis there? I don't know. I don't know. But, man, that's all I got on. Man, that's all I got. I'm not about to watch the rest of this video, man. I've heard enough. So let me know what y'all think. Listen to everything I said, man. Soak in, you know, everything I said. Because this is how, you know, these are the questions that got to be asked. And like I said, there has to be a protocol. There has to be an understanding and agreement on how, business-wise, on how these things get handled. You know, all the emotion, all the whining, and all that shit. You know, we're done with that shit, man. We done with that shit. You know, about that action. We want shit to get done so we can move on. You know, but a lot of people nowadays, I'm not saying what these people are, but a lot of people get off on all of this shit. A lot of people get off on, you know, just drama. It's just like, nah, let's get the shit done, man. And if ain't good, you know, if you're not abiding by the agreement that we have, or what you got on the books, or different things like that, then, you know, we'll go from there. But stay focused, though. So let me know what you think in the comment section, man. I'm going to holler at y'all later.